Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well, and I wish you guys all a wonderful, beautiful Shabbos coming tonight. And I'm looking forward to just having that 25-hour oasis away from everything that's distracting us all the time from getting in touch with our inner spiritual selves. And speaking about spirituality, I want to share with you something that Rabbi Noach Weinberg used to say. Rabbi Noach Weinberg was the founder of Eish HaTorah, and that was the first yeshiva that I studied in 25 or 6 years ago, however long ago it was. And he used to say whenever he had an opportunity, he would have a crowd, he would ask the following question, say, hey, what is the opposite of pain? And everybody would, blurt out pleasure, because that seems to be the natural response. Pain and pleasure are opposites. And he would say, that is incorrect. The opposite of pain is no pain. So what is the correct or actual connection or relationship between pain and pleasure? And he would explain that pain is the price that one pays for pleasure, no matter what type of pleasure a person is pursuing. And by the way, the greater the pleasure, the more one has to pay, so to speak, the price of pain. So he would always ask, anybody in the crowd, he'd say, what's your greatest pleasure in life? And people would say, my kids. And then he would say, okay, what's your greatest pain in life? And people would say, my kids. And his point was that, of course, it makes sense that the things that are most difficult for us, the things that are most challenging for us, also produce the greatest pleasure. So in our pursuit of spiritual connection, we have to overcome a natural tendency that human beings have to avoid pain at all costs. If our whole purpose and our whole focus in life is to avoid pain, then we can be sure, certain, guaranteed that we will never truly experience the greatest levels of pleasure that are available to us. Because like any level of pleasure that's available, you have to be willing to sacrifice for it. And spiritual pleasure is going to cost a lot in the price of physical pain sometimes. And we have to just get over that. We have to accept that. If we want to grow spiritually, we have to be willing to make certain commitments and certain sacrifices that might be difficult, that might be painful. But I promise you, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it when we connect to our inner selves and we feel a deeper sense of spiritual pleasure and connection, then any price is worth paying. As another rabbi who used to share his wisdom with us, Rabbi Mati Berger, used to say, if there is a possibility of infinite pleasure, which is how he defines spiritual connection, as infinite pleasure, the pleasure of being connected to the infinite. If there is a possibility of infinite pleasure, then any finite price is worth paying for the infinite pleasure. So think about that over Shabbos. Spiritual connection is the deepest, greatest pleasure available, but it requires sacrifice and commitment. And if we're afraid of pain and we're afraid of sacrifice, then we're never going to achieve our spiritual goals. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we will see you next week.